Let's cut through the noise right now. Most men think making a woman miss them is about sending clever texts, playing mind games, or waiting the perfect number of hours before replying. Wrong. None of that works in the long run. If you want a woman to miss you badly, you need to understand one simple truth. People only miss what adds real value to their lives. When you constantly chase, constantly call, and constantly make yourself available, there's nothing for her to miss because you never left. The power comes from creating space, from holding your ground, and from knowing your worth. This isn't about manipulation, it's about respect. When you respect your time, your purpose, and your presence, she'll start to notice the void when you're not around. And that's when the missing begins. In this video, I'll show you the key psychological triggers that make a woman long for your attention, crave your presence, and think about you when you're not there. Get ready, because once you master this, you'll never have to wonder if she misses you again. 1. Stop being constantly available. If you want a woman to miss you badly, the very first rule is this: stop being constantly available. Nothing kills attraction faster than a man who's always there, always ready, and always waiting at her call. Think about it. How can she possibly miss you if you never give her the chance to feel your absence? Most men fall into this trap without even realizing it. They believe the more attention they give, the more time they offer, the more love they pour in, the more she will value them. In reality, the opposite happens. She starts to take it for granted. Your messages no longer feel exciting. They feel routine. Your calls no longer make her smile. They feel like background noise. The moment she realizes you have no life outside of her, no purpose beyond her, she stops longing for you because you've made yourself cheap in her eyes. Here's the psychology behind it. Human beings naturally value scarcity. We crave what we can't have all the time. That's why expensive items feel luxurious, why rare opportunities feel urgent, and why people miss those who aren't always around. If you're showing up in her inbox every morning, replying instantly every night, and rearranging your life to fit into her schedule, you've stripped away the very thing that makes someone miss another person: the gap. That empty space where your presence used to be. That silence where your voice used to echo. Without it, she has no reason to feel your absence, and therefore no reason to long for you. Now picture this. Instead of texting her the second she posts something online, you wait. Instead of canceling your plans to see her, you keep your schedule intact. Instead of proving your availability every hour of the day, you prove your value by living your life, chasing your goals, and letting her come to you. Suddenly, she notices something's different. Suddenly, she's wondering why you're not chasing like before. Suddenly, she feels the itch to reach out, because people miss what once was freely available when it's no longer guaranteed. Here's the truth. You don't create longing through overexposure. You create it through controlled distance. Give her the gift of your absence and watch her start craving your presence. That's how you flip the dynamic. 2. Build a life she wants to be part of. Here's the brutal truth most men ignore. A woman can't miss you if there's nothing about your life worth missing. If your entire existence revolves around her, what is she supposed to long for when you're gone? The secret isn't just pulling back. It's building a life so full, so rich, and so magnetic that your absence feels heavy. When you're a man with direction, purpose, and ambition, she doesn't just notice when you're gone. She feels it. She feels the gap between her world and yours. That's when her curiosity kicks in. That's when she wonders what you're doing, who you're with, and why you haven't called. Think about it this way. If every time she texts you're instantly free, if every weekend you're just waiting for her plans, and if your goals stop the second she walks into your life, She has no reason to miss you. You've already made her the center of your universe, and that kills attraction. But imagine instead you're chasing your career, working on your fitness, learning new skills, hanging out with people who respect you, and pushing yourself forward. Suddenly, you're not just a man she knows, you're a man she admires. She begins to realize that even without her, your life is moving, your energy is growing, and your value is increasing. That's what makes her miss you, because she doesn't want to feel left behind. Let's make it real with an example. You have two choices on a Saturday. 1. Sit by your phone waiting for her message. 2. Hit the gym, work on your side hustle, meet your friends, and actually enjoy your life. If you choose the first, she feels no urgency because she knows you're always there, waiting. But if you choose the second, she starts to wonder. She starts to feel that fear of missing out on your energy, your presence, your vibe. And that fear, FOMO, is one of the most powerful triggers of attraction. Here's the point. When your life is exciting, your absence becomes noticeable. When your life is full of purpose, she'll crave being part of it. That's how you flip the script. Don't try to force her to miss you. Create a life so magnetic that she has no choice but to notice when she's not around. Master the power of silence. One of the most powerful tools you have in making a woman miss you isn't what you say. It's what you don't say. Silence, when used correctly, is louder than any message, stronger than any phone call, and more impactful than constant attention. Most men are terrified of silence. The moment she doesn't reply for a few hours, they panic. They double text. They call. They send a funny meme to get her attention. What they don't realize is that every time they do this, they kill the very tension that creates longing. A woman can't miss what never goes away. If you're always filling the gaps, always chasing, always reminding her you're there, you never give her the chance to feel your absence. Here's the psychology. Attraction thrives on uncertainty. The human mind naturally fills silence with curiosity. When she doesn't hear from you, she starts to think. She wonders where you are, what you're doing, and why you're not chasing her like every other guy. That silence creates a gap, and in that gap, she begins to feel the pull. Missing someone doesn't come from overexposure. It comes from those empty spaces that her brain desperately wants to fill. Picture this scenario. You're texting back and forth, the conversation is light, but instead of dragging it on for hours, you leave it at a high point. You let the conversation end naturally and then nothing. No desperate follow-up. No late-night good-night message if she didn't send one first. You simply let the silence sit. At first, she shrugs it off, but as time passes, she notices. The next day, she checks her phone more than usual. She wonders why you haven't reached out. That little spark of curiosity grows into restlessness, and restlessness is the seed of missing. Now, here's the danger. Most men break the silence too soon. They can't handle the discomfort. But the man who embraces it, who stays grounded and focused on his own life, holds all the power. Because silence doesn't just create space, it creates contrast. When you finally do show up again, your presence feels 10 times more powerful. The truth is simple. Silence isn't weakness. It's strategy. It's self-respect. And it's one of the most effective ways to make a woman feel your absence so strongly that she can't help but miss you. 4. Give her emotional highs, then step back. If you want a woman to miss you badly, you need to understand this simple truth. People don't miss neutral experiences. They miss intensity. What creates longing isn't flat, boring interactions. It's the emotional highs you give her when you're around, followed by the space you create when you're not. Think about it. When someone remembers a vacation, it's not the routine parts they miss. It's the thrill, the laughter, the adventure. The same principle applies to relationships. If every interaction with you feels exciting, fun, or deeply connected, she'll replay those moments in her head when you're not there. That's when she misses you, because you've given her something powerful to hold on to. Most men mess this up. They either smother her with constant attention until it becomes background noise, or they act so distant that she never feels anything in the first place. The key is balance. Show up with strong, positive energy when you're with her. Make her laugh. Challenge her mind. Make her feel feminine and seen. And then step back. Don't immediately chase after. Don't linger endlessly in her messages. And don't try to keep the high going 24/7. Let her sit with the memory. Let her crave that feeling again. Imagine this scenario. You spend an evening together, maybe it's just a coffee date, but you bring energy. You're present, playful, confident. She's laughing, leaning in, enjoying every second. And then, instead of dragging it out or texting her all night afterwards, you end the interaction at its peak. You let the high point linger. The next day, she wakes up replaying the little moments, the way you looked at her, the way you made her laugh, the way you carried yourself. She checks her phone, half expecting a message. But instead of flooding her with words, you let the silence do the work. That's how the missing grows. Here's the psychology. Our brains are wired to crave what gives us emotional spikes. If every time she sees you, she feels more alive, more feminine, more valued, then when you're gone, she feels the void. And the void pulls her toward you. The mistake is thinking she'll miss you just because you're nice or consistent. She won't. She'll miss the emotional charge you gave her. So make every moment with you count, and then step back and let her feel your absence. That's how you turn ordinary interactions into unforgettable ones. 5. Don't be afraid to say no. If you want a woman to miss you badly, you must understand the power of boundaries. Most men ruin attraction by saying yes to everything. Can you do this for me? Yes. Can you cancel your plans and come over? Yes. Can you wait around until I decide I'm free? Yes. And do you know what happens when you become that man? She doesn't appreciate you more. She respects you less. She sees you as predictable, easy, and always available. And the more predictable you are, the less she feels your absence, because she knows you'll always come running back. Here's the reality. A woman doesn't miss a man she controls. She misses the man she can't fully control. The man who has his own standards, his own goals, and his own backbone. Saying no is not about being rude or arrogant. It's about showing that your life and your priorities matter too. When you politely decline something because you're busy, focused, or simply not in the mood, you create scarcity, and scarcity builds value. Think of it like this. If she asks you to hang out last minute but you've already planned to hit the gym, most men would drop everything and go. They think, if I say no, she'll lose interest. Wrong. If you cancel your discipline to chase her, she sees weakness, not strength. But if you tell her, I can't tonight, I've got plans, let's do tomorrow, she suddenly realizes she doesn't fully own your time. And that thought, he's not always at my disposal, is what creates the craving. She starts to wonder what you're doing when you're not with her. She starts to miss the certainty she once had. That's how the longing begins. Here's the psychology. Respect and desire are built on boundaries. When you stand firm in who you are, when you protect your time and energy, you send a clear message. You're not desperate for her approval. And ironically, that makes her want you more. Because women miss men who carry themselves with strength, not men who bend at every request. So remember this. Every time you say no to something that doesn't align with your values or your schedule, you're saying yes to your self-respect. And when a woman sees that, She doesn't just respect you, she misses you when you're not there. Control your emotional energy. If you want a woman to miss you badly, you have to master the one thing most men completely fail at: controlling your emotional energy. Here's the mistake. Most men hand over their emotions to a woman like it's a gift basket. They overshare too quickly. They react to everything she does, and they constantly seek validation through her responses. If she takes hours to reply, they get anxious and double text. If she cancels plans, they show frustration and beg for another chance. If she pulls away, they panic and chase even harder. And what happens? She learns that she can control his emotions like a switch. And a man she can control is a man she will never miss. Here's the truth. Women miss men who make them feel, not men who always reveal everything they're feeling. There's a difference. When your emotions are too available, too easy to read, and too reactive, you kill the mystery. But when you stay composed, calm, centered, and focused, she feels uncertain. She wonders what's on your mind. She wonders why you're not shaken. And that curiosity pulls her closer. Picture this scenario. She suddenly acts distant. Instead of blowing up her phone asking, "What's wrong? Did I do something? Are you mad at me?" You stay calm. You don't chase. You give her space. You focus on your own life. To her, this feels unusual because most men would instantly fold. Now, instead of feeling suffocated, she feels the absence of your attention. She starts to replay her own actions. She begins to miss the energy you once gave because you've stopped flooding her with it. Here's the psychology. Emotional self-control creates polarity. When you aren't handing over your mood to her every move, you remain in control of the frame. And people miss what they can't fully figure out. If she knows that her ignoring you will ruin your whole day, there's nothing left to miss, she already owns you. But if she can't predict your reactions, if she sees you staying composed regardless, then your emotional energy becomes valuable. The bottom line is simple. Don't let your emotions spill all over her. Guard them. Manage them. When you remain grounded, confident, and in control, you flip the script. And that's when she starts missing your steady energy every time it's not there. 7. Leave her with unfinished moments. If you truly want a woman to miss you badly, you need to understand the power of leaving her wanting more. Most men do the opposite. They overstay, overtalk, and overshare until there's nothing left for her to crave. They think giving more time, more words, more energy will make her fall deeper. In reality, it makes her feel full too quickly. And when someone feels full, they don't crave. Longing only exists in the gaps. When something ends before she's ready. When there's a cliffhanger. When there's more she wanted but didn't get. That's where desire lives. Think of your favorite TV show. The reason you binge watch isn't because each episode gives you everything. It's because each one ends at a peak, leaving you desperate to see what happens next. Now apply that to attraction. If every time you're with her, you drag conversations until they die out, or you stay until she gets bored, you're killing her hunger for you. But if you end interactions at their high point, when she's laughing, when the vibe is strong, when the energy is flowing, you walk away while her emotions are still spiking. That's what keeps you lingering in her mind. That's what makes her miss you. Picture this. You're on a date. Things are going great. She's fully engaged. Instead of stretching it into an awkward 4-hour marathon, you wrap it up while the energy is still high. You leave her smiling, still thinking about the fun, still feeling the chemistry. On the way home, instead of forgetting you, she replays the night in her head. She wanted more, but you didn't give it. And because you didn't, she starts to crave it. She starts to crave you. Here's the psychology. Anticipation is one of the strongest human emotions. When something feels incomplete, the mind fixates on it. When she feels like there's more of you she hasn't gotten yet, she keeps thinking, keeps wondering, keeps missing. But when you hand her everything up front, your time, your attention, your presence in endless supply, she has no reason to long for it. So remember this, leave her with unfinished moments. Don't give away the entire story at once. Let her hunger build. Because the man who masters the art of leaving a woman wanting more is the man she will always miss the most. At the end of the day, making a woman miss you badly isn't about tricks, games, or manipulations. It's about respect, presence, and control. She won't miss a man who gives himself away too easily. She'll miss the man who values his time, builds a life worth chasing, and leaves her craving more. The moment you stop chasing and start leading, everything shifts. Remember, longing only grows in space, silence, and strength. So hold your ground, protect your energy, and let her feel the difference when you're not around. That's when missing turns into desire.